All right, everyone, buckle up. Because today we're diving headfirst into a topic that's really going to make us think. This idea of, how everything's connected, how we create our own reality, even human evolution. It's kind of a mind bender.
It's fascinating, isn't it? We're going to untangle how those ideas, though they seem separate, really are woven together.
Our guidebook for this trip is a document called, get this, Val Valerian Matrix XVII.pdf. Sounds pretty intense, right?
It's a wild ride, for sure.
It's packed with all these theories, ancient secrets, and it starts by saying, basically, reality isn't what we think it is.
Exactly. It challenges our everyday experience. It uses this phrase harmonic overtones. So imagine different versions of reality all layered on top of each other, like radio frequencies.
So other realities existing right alongside ours, but how do we, tune into those?
Well, the document suggests that's where our consciousness comes in. It's like tuning a radio. If we could adjust our awareness, maybe, just maybe, we could experience these other realities.
Okay, that's a big if. But it does make you wonder, did ancient cultures get this in a way we don't?
And that's where it gets really interesting. The document talks about the Dogon tribe in Africa and their understanding of Sirius, the star system. They knew about Sirius B, the companion star, way before modern science found it. And get this, they accurately described its orbit, a really weird elliptical one, and its density, super dense.
Hold on, they knew all that without, telescopes. How is that even possible?
Right. It makes you question what we think we know about ancient knowledge. Did they have access to information that's been lost, forgotten over time? This document seems to suggest their understanding of the cosmos, of how everything connects, was way more advanced than we give them credit for.
Like they were tapped into a different level of knowing, a different reality even.
Maybe so. And they weren't the only ones. The document points to those intricate wheels they found in the Egyptian temples. It suggests they weren't just decoration, but representations of their understanding of harmonics, dimensions. They might have even understood the electromagnetic spectrum.
Whoa, are we talking about, lost technology here? Ancient wisdom we just haven't rediscovered?
It's hard to say for sure, but it makes you think, right? How much have we lost? How much is still out there waiting to be found?
That's mind-blowing. And speaking of mind-blowing, let's talk about the flower of life. I've seen this symbol, but I never knew how much it went deep,
Oh, it goes deep. It's this geometric pattern, pops up in cultures all over the world. At its center, you've got the seed of life, this powerful symbol of creation. The document suggests that this pattern that reflects those counter-rotating fields you find in, of all things, sunflowers.
Counter-rotating fields, is that what makes sunflower seeds make that spiral pattern?
Exactly. And that pattern, it ties into the Fibonacci sequence too, that mathematical pattern we see everywhere, from seashells to galaxies. And the document links both of those to the Merkaba, which is this field of light and energy that supposedly surrounds our bodies. It's like we're seeing echoes of creation at every single level.
It's like this massive cosmic dance with everything connected through these patterns, these energy fields. Just amazing.
Right. And it even connects to ancient civilizations, too. The document talks about Lemuria, this legendary civilization that was supposedly super advanced, even had tall beings who influenced human evolution and were involved in gold mining back then.
Hold up. Tall beings. Are we talking aliens here?
The document isn't totally clear on that, but it describes Lemuria as this technologically advanced place that met its end, sadly, through a polar shift.
A good reminder that even the most advanced civilizations can't always outsmart Mother Nature. But what about those tall beings and how they're connected to our evolution? What's the link?
Well, that's where we start to peel back even more layers of this incredible mystery. It seems these beings, they understood energy, consciousness in ways we're just starting to grasp. And according to the document, their influence may have shaped humanity's spiritual potential in profound ways. It's really like we're finding puzzle pieces scattered through history, They hint at this deeper understanding of, who we are, where we came from. And speaking of puzzle pieces, this document, it takes a sharp turn into the animal kingdom, specifically dolphins.
Dolphins. Okay, I'm not sure I follow you. They're smart, yeah. Everyone knows that. But how do they fit into this whole thing about, ancient civilizations and hidden realities?
Well, get this. The document says that dolphins, they have this crazy long evolutionary history. At one point, they even spent time on land. And if you look at their flippers, the bone structure is really similar to a human hand.
Interesting, but couldn't that just be, a coincidence? Just evolution taking similar paths?
Yeah, maybe. But the document, it also brings up their breathing. Dolphins breathe through the tops of their heads, right? Well, that could be stimulating their pineal gland directly.
Wait, the pineal gland, isn't that the thing they call the third eye? The one linked to intuition and all that?
Bingo. So the idea is that this constant stimulation, it might be why dolphins are so intelligent. And, they have that special connection with us humans.
So it's like their biology, how they're built, might be giving them a different experience of reality. Maybe they can tap into levels of consciousness that we haven't even begun to explore.
Exactly. Makes you wonder what other kinds of consciousness are out there in the universe, right? Experiencing reality in ways we can't even fathom.
It's mind-blowing and kind of humbling, too, when you really think about it. But let's jump back to ancient Egypt for a sec.
Hmm.
The document spends some time on this pharaoh, Akhenaten, who wanted to change how Egyptians saw the world.
Oh, yeah. Akhenaten, what a fascinating character. Totally an outlier. He was always shown with this elongated skull, feminine features, which was super different from other pharaohs, and he wanted to bring realism to Egyptian art. He wanted things shown as they actually were, not in that super stylized way they usually did it.
Sounds like he wanted to shake things up a bit, get people to see things differently, maybe even more truthfully.
Right. And there's more. He tried to shift worship away from the traditional gods, the whole pantheon, towards a single universal force symbolized by the sun disk, Akheten.
So he's this pharaoh who valued truth, wanted a more universal idea of the divine. No wonder this document calls him out.
He was a revolutionary through and through. And like most revolutionaries, he was met with resistance, especially from the priests. They held a lot of power back then.
It makes you think, how many times throughout history have ideas like that been silenced? How different would our understanding of the world be if they hadn't been? But let's switch gears again. This document also talks about something totally unexpected: human conception.
Yeah, it challenges the traditional view, that's for sure. The document suggests that it's not just one sperm that fertilizes the egg, but actually multiple. And it links the spirals in a human ovum, the egg, back to that Fibonacci sequence again.
So even at the very start of human life, those universal patterns, those counter-rotating field, they're already there. It's incredible.
Exactly. It suggests a deeper level of design, of intention, even at the microscopic level. And that feeling of interconnectedness, of this grand design, it extends to one of the biggest mysteries out there, the Great Pyramid.
Ah, the Great Pyramid. I mean, even pictures of it are awe-inspiring. How did they build something that massive, that precise, with the technology they had back then? It still blows my mind.
It's a true enigma. And this document, it goes beyond just the construction. It suggests that the Great Pyramid, it might be more than just a tomb. Like maybe it's some kind of giant energy receiver or amplifier. It talks about this white light spiral that goes right through the king's chamber, connecting it to the center of the galaxy.
Whoa, hold on a minute. A white light spiral connecting us to the galactic center. That sounds straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Right. It's a powerful image. The document's suggesting that the whole Giza Plateau, it could be this really important point in a global network of energy, like a grid of consciousness, influencing how we experience reality.
So the Great Pyramid, a giant cosmic antenna. It's amazing to think that ancient cultures, they might have understood things about the universe, about our place in it all, that we're only now starting to rediscover.
It's truly humbling, and it leads to something else. This document brings up the idea of a dimensional shift. Remember back in 2012, all that talk about the end of the Mayan calendar?
Oh yeah, doomsday predictions,
Yeah.
spiritual awakenings, the whole 9 yards. But nothing really happened, did it? At least not that I noticed.
Well, the document, it suggests that this shift, it might not have been a single event. Maybe it's an ongoing process, a slow awakening of consciousness. And who knows, maybe if we were more ready for it, more open to it, we'd be experiencing it in a totally different way.
Ready. What does that even mean in this context? Are we talking like meditation retreats and chanting?
It's more about, being aware of our thoughts, our beliefs, understanding how those actually shape our reality.
That takes us back to what we were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah.
About the power of belief.
Mhm.
This document is saying that what we believe, even subconsciously, can actually influence what we experience in our lives.
Mm.
It's like we're living in a movie we wrote ourselves, but we don't even realize we're the screenwriters. But if we're not aware of those thoughts, those beliefs, are we really in control of anything at all?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? This document, it's saying this isn't about some kind of magic, where we can just bend reality to our will. It's more about realizing that we're not separate from the world around us. Our inner world, our outer world, they're intertwined.
Okay, that makes sense. We're not just watching, we're part of the whole thing. But how do we actually do that? How do we shape reality in a way that's you know, good for everyone, not just ourselves.
Well, the document introduces this idea of the mother current. Think of it as this feminine principle of creation. It's nurturing, it connects everything, it just flows through everything.
Mother current. I like
Yeah.
the sound of that. Tell me more.
It's this idea that there's like an intelligence woven into existence itself. It's already there. We just have to recognize it, align ourselves with it.
So we're tapping into something bigger than us.
Yes. And the document says a lot of ancient cultures, especially the ones that like worshipped goddesses, feminine deities, they understood this principle.
It makes you think maybe modern society, we've lost that connection to something, I don't know, bigger, more intuitive.
It's something to think about for sure. And it goes back to what the document says about balancing, what we're doing out in the world, our achievements and stuff, with our own spiritual growth.
Yeah, everyone's always talking about balance these days, but it's harder than it sounds.
Yeah.
What does that even look like in this context?
I think it's about recognizing that we're not just these physical beings, right? It's not just about accomplishments. We have this inner world, this spiritual side that needs attention too. If we ignore that part of ourselves, it creates this imbalance that can mess with every part of our lives.
It's about honoring all parts of who we are, the physical stuff, the spiritual stuff, what we see and what we can't.
Exactly. And that's why what we're thinking, our thoughts, they matter even more than we realize. The document says that the thoughts we think most often, they create a pull, like a magnet, attracting experiences that match those thoughts.
Like, if we're always focused on the negative, on fear, on what we don't have, we're basically inviting more of that into our lives.
It's not about blame or anything. It's just that our thoughts, they send out signals. And those signals, they interact with the energy field around us. We're influencing things whether we realize it or not.
So if we want more of the good stuff, more positivity, more happiness, we've got to shift our focus. We've got to cultivate those feelings within ourselves first.
Exactly. And it's not about pretending the negative doesn't exist or pushing it down. It's about awareness. Noticing when we get stuck in that negative spiral and making a conscious choice to focus on something else.
Taking control of the story in our heads. Becoming the creators, not just the characters, right? Both in our own lives and on a larger scale, too.
That's a great way to put it. And that takes us right back to that idea of interconnectedness. If we're all connected, if what we believe can shape our reality, then what we choose to focus on collectively, that matters. It has a ripple effect.
It's a big responsibility, but it's also kind of empowering, don't you think? If we can be more aware, more conscious of our thoughts, our beliefs, our energy, then we can make a difference, not just for ourselves, but for the world around us.
Absolutely. When we align ourselves with love, with compassion, with understanding those positive vibes, we help create a reality that's more harmonious, more fulfilling for everyone.
It's a journey, for sure, of self-discovery, of waking up to who we really are, and ultimately of realizing that we're not alone in any of it. We're all connected.
And if there's one thing to take away from this whole deep dive, it's that. We're all part of this incredible web of existence. And each one of us, we have a part to play in shaping the reality we experience. What a thought, right?
It really makes you think. It's given me a lot to chew on, that's for sure. Thanks for taking us on this journey. It's been fascinating and honestly a little mind-bending at times.
My pleasure. And for everyone listening, keep asking those questions, keep exploring. This journey, this understanding of our place in the universe, it's ongoing. Don't be afraid to dive in.